Think making more money makes you rich? Think again. Welcome to Finances with Finn, where we expose money mistakes before.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive topic, the 10 money habits keeping you poor, even if you're bringing in a high income. We're going to expose the top 3 silent wealth killers that literally destroy financial stability. And then we'll walk through a simple 5-step blueprint to fix them. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever wondered why people making 6 figures are still living paycheck to paycheck? I mean, it's a huge paradox, right? You look around, you see someone with this incredible job, a massive salary, and yet, at the end of the month, they're scraping by and stressing out just like someone making a fraction of what they do. Like, how does that even happen? Where on earth is all that money going?
Well, here is the core realization you need to make today. The salary isn't the problem. The habits are. Your income is really just fuel. But your habits, they're the steering wheel. If you just throw more money at bad habits, you're honestly just going to end up making bigger, far more expensive mistakes.
So let's look at silent wealth killer number 1, ignoring compound interest.
You know, people constantly put off investing because they think, oh, I need a huge lump sum of cash to even start. But let me tell you a quick story about 2 friends, Alex and Ben. So Alex starts investing at 25, putting away just $300 every month. After several years, Alex stops completely. Done. Now, Ben, on the other hand, says, wait until I'm making more money, and he finally starts investing at age 35. Because he's older and earning way more, Ben actually ends up investing a lot more of his own cash overall than Alex ever did.
But here's the shocking truth. Alex wins. Seriously, no joke. Even though Ben invested way more total cash later in his life, Alex still ends up with significantly more wealth at retirement. I know, it seems mathematically impossible until you actually understand the mechanics of it. Ben had more money, sure, but Alex had a secret weapon.
So the crucial point here is this. Time is the greatest investor you'll ever have. Just let that sink in for a second. The reason Alex won wasn't because he had a higher salary or because he made some genius stock picks. It was purely because Alex's money had 10 extra years to grow, multiply, and basically feed on itself. The earlier you start, the less money you actually need to pull out of your own pocket.
Think of it like a tiny snowball rolling down a massive hill. At first, it's small, almost unnoticeable. But as it keeps rolling, it picks up more snow. It builds momentum. By the time it hits the bottom, it's absolutely enormous. That is compound interest in a nutshell. It doesn't just grow your money, it grows your patience. And whenever people ask what's the best investment, the answer is always exactly the same, the one you actually start.
All right, moving on, we hit silent wealth killer number 2, driving without a map.
Imagine jumping into your car for a cross-country road trip without having any clue where you're going. No map, no destination, and zero plan for fuel. You just drive around in circles until you ran out of gas, right? It sounds totally ridiculous, yet that is exactly how millions of people manage their money, just driving blindly. And the harsh reality is you simply cannot out-earn a lack of direction.
Now, the good news is you don't need some overly complicated spreadsheet to fix this. You really just need 3 simple categories: needs, savings, and investments. That's it. You have to give every single dollar a designated job the exact moment it enters your bank account. It's basic asset allocation. Because if your money doesn't have a specific direction, I promise you it will always find a way to disappear.
And this brilliantly illustrates the trap most people fall into. They take their income, spend it on whatever they want, and then try to save whatever happens to be left over at the end of the month, which, let's be real, is usually nothing. The successful formula completely flips this on its head. Income comes in, then you save, then you invest, and only then do you spend what's left.
Because, as the saying goes, successful people spend what's left after saving. Most people out there are just saving what's left after spending. It's a tiny psychological shift for sure, but it is the exact boundary line between the folks who actually build wealth and the ones who constantly wonder where all their money went.
And that brings us to silent wealth killer number 3, the high income illusion.
Guys, this is probably the biggest illusion in modern society. We are so conditioned to think that more income automatically equals more wealth. But consider a modest earner making $50,000 a year who strictly saves 20% of it. Now, compare them to a high earner pulling in $150,000 but spending 110% of it through credit cards and lifestyle creep. That modest earner is quietly building real financial security, while the 6-figure earner remains perpetually stressed, trapped, and basically broke.
The true difference between them isn't their income at all. Income really just creates opportunity. What actually creates lasting wealth is your strict discipline and your daily habits.
You can absolutely be flat broke making $250,000 a year if your habits are terrible. It all boils down to income versus discipline, and discipline wins every single time.
Listen to this very carefully. Wealth isn't what you earn. Wealth is what you keep. It genuinely doesn't matter how much money flows into your bank account on payday if it all just flows right back out to pay off debts, car loans, and expensive lifestyle upgrades. You aren't building wealth. You're just acting as a conduit for money to pass through on its way to someone else's pocket.
Let's move to the solution and see how this builds into the 5-step wealth blueprint.
All right, here is your foundational roadmap to finally escape the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. Step 1. Spend less than you earn. It is the unbreakable law of money. Step 2. Build a 6-month emergency fund to insulate yourself from life's inevitable surprises. Step 3. Eliminate that high-interest debt that's actively working against you. Step 4. Invest automatically every single month. Set it and forget it. And Step 5, which is honestly perhaps the hardest one in our modern world, ignore the pressure to look rich.
You see, nobody becomes wealthy overnight. Success isn't one giant lottery-winning decision. Financial freedom is built in literally hundreds of small decisions. It is the daily discipline of what you do with every single paycheck, every purchase you make, every investment, and every habit you form over the years.
Which leads us to our final section, the true goal, financial freedom.
So, why do we put ourselves through all this discipline? We don't just want a paycheck that totally disappears by Tuesday, right? We are planting a seed, and over time, that seed grows into a massive tree, cultivated through all those small, daily decisions and good habits we just talked about.
And what exactly does this tree produce? Well, it produces the fruits of freedom, time, peace, choices, family, freedom. This is what financial discipline actually buys you. It buys you the freedom to say yes to what truly matters, the freedom to say no to what doesn't, and the absolute ultimate luxury, the freedom to sleep peacefully at night without stressing out about how you're going to pay the bills.
Ultimately, money isn't the goal. Freedom is. We aren't doing all of this just to watch some numbers go up on a screen. We're building wealth so that we can spend our lives, our time, and our energy with the people we love, strictly on our own terms.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to reflect on today. Are your daily habits actively building wealth, or are they quietly keeping you poor? Spot the red flags, implement the blueprint, and take back control of your steering wheel. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.